Jack and Lilly disappeared 10 months ago. It's been a long time since we've seen a case of missing kids get so much media attention. Even now, nearly a year later, their Wikipedia page is updated daily to reflect the exact amount of days that they've been missing. Their family, their friends, and the whole of Canada are hell-bent on bringing them home. If any kid has enough support behind them to make that happen, it's Jack and Lilly. So let's bring these babies home. Let's get into it. I'm going to start off with a plea to our viewers. Share this video. Share the hell out of it. We've still got a chance to save 2 innocent lives. They need their story to be told, to spread as far and wide as possible. We're not asking for our channel. We're asking you to share it for the sake of Jack and Lilly Sullivan while there's still hope. Let their faces be seen by as many people as possible. And to the viewer that suggested it, infamous G1J, thank you for bringing our attention to this. And now, let's start at the beginning. Malia Brooks Murray and her husband Daniel Martell took their 3 children to New Glasgow to pick up groceries. The family of 5 were seen up on surveillance doing their shopping at 2:25 on the 1st of May 2025 before returning back to their rural home on Gairloch Road in Lansdowne, Nova Scotia. A little background on the family is in order here before we go on. 6-year-old Lily and 4-year-old Jack were Malia's children from a previous marriage. She and her new partner Daniel also had a baby together. The kid's biological father, Cody Sullivan, hadn't seen his children in 3 years, and it doesn't seem like there was ever any attempt from him to do so either. Secondly, both kids were kept out of school in the 2 days prior because there was a school holiday, and on the second day, the kids developed a mild cough. So Malia decided that since it was Friday, she'd keep both kids home and let them get over the cold together over the weekend. And lastly, when I say their home was rural, I mean it. This place was surrounded by woods on all sides, and Lily and Jack made full use of their forested wonderland by playing around the property every chance they got. Unfortunately, that's also the perfect environment for anyone, let alone 2 young kids, to get turned around in very easily. Daniel even placed a wreath on the top of the front door that night because there was a black bear walking around that liked to rummage in their garbage at night. At least, that's the way the family could hear if the cretin tried coming inside. This is deep wilderness, is what I'm trying to say. The kids' tablet showed that they were active on their electronic devices until 8 that evening, and the couple said that they put them to bed sometime between 9 and 10 that night. Their timeline wasn't perfect, but all in all, I'm not too concerned about that. For 2 kids who were not going to go to school the next day and parents with a fussy baby to take care of, well, an hour give or take isn't all that much of a discrepancy. Both Malia and Daniel reported that they heard both kids use the bathroom during the night as they usually did, and that they heard them the next morning too. At around 8, Jack was rummaging in the kitchen and they heard the siblings talking to each other. Lily came in to say hi to the baby and her parents, and shortly after that, the siblings headed outside from the back door to play on the swings. Their mother didn't stop them since both kids seemed to have gotten over their cold. This was a typical routine for the family on a day off. The kids would get up, go play, and the parents would lie in for as long as the baby allowed. Daniel's mother, Janie McKenzie, who also lives on the property, also heard the kids playing out back sometime after 8 that morning. At 9:40, Malia had gotten up and was changing the baby when she noticed that the giggles and chatter from the backyard had gone quiet. She and her husband went out to find the children gone, the backyard gate open, and both their boots missing. Jack was wearing a pair of dinosaur patterned ones, and Lily had her favorite pair of pink boots on. It took the couple only 20 minutes of searching and calling to decide to call 911. In that kind of terrain, they couldn't take any chances. In an area this remote, with miles upon miles of woods, ponds, hills, and ravines, there's no telling where they could be. There are only about 100 people living in this entire county. There's no cell service and not a single highway that the children could hear or see lights on. To make matters worse, there are a gazillion abandoned mines out there that the kids could have fallen into. When Janie heard the parents' shouts, she came out to join in on the search and the forts that the kids had built with sticks. When police arrived, Daniel was driving up every dirt road in the vicinity, calling out for the kids, and their mother told police that not only had the kids taken their boots, Lilly had also taken her strawberry-patterned backpack. Now, they did play in the nearby woods with their boots on, but never had Lilly taken a backpack along. It wouldn't have been necessary. They were not allowed to play out of the house's sight after all. Furthermore, Jack despised long walks, and Lilly hated the cold. That day was muggy and rainy, so neither child was likely to have decided to go for an adventure. When Malia mentioned the kid's biological father, who lived just 30 miles away, police ruled him out almost immediately. The man hadn't seen them in 3 years, nor did he have any interest in contacting them. They wouldn't even have recognized him if they saw him. And when I say that the search was enormous, I mean it. Dogs, foot searchers, helicopters equipped with thermal cameras, ATVs riding up every footpath and dirt road, not to mention the hundreds of bodies of water in the area. There were no resources spared looking for Jack and Lilly in those first days. The kid's father and his relatives were all brought in. Their homes and properties were searched, and every place Lilly and Jack had ever been was searched too. Not a drop of blood, not a scrap of clothing, just nothing. Cody's family vouched for Malia, saying that she was a great mother and that she went out of her way to make sure that the kids met their grandparents and cousins whenever she could. Just because Cody wasn't interested in knowing his kids didn't mean that Malia was going to deny the rest of the family access to the siblings. No one around Malia believed that she or her new husband would have done anything to their children. After getting together with Daniel, the visits had cooled, mostly because Daniel didn't like the idea of the kids or his wife running into Cody. But all in all, at least before the kids went missing, there wasn't any outright bad blood between anyone. On the second day, searchers found a scrap of pink blanket that belonged to Lilly and 2 child-sized boot prints nearby. This was all found on a trail half a mile away from where they'd gone missing, and the print sizes matched Jack and Lilly's feet. The rest of the blanket was found back at the home, stuffed in a trash bag besides a trash can. The blanket had nothing suspicious on it, and according to the family, it had been used to block a drafty window. How it ended up a half a mile away, high up in a tree, was anyone's guess. But even if it had blown there, why would both kids' prints be just feet away from the scrap in the tree then? On the third day, a tip came in from a woman that claimed to have seen the kids with their biological father at a motel on the day that they went missing. Another tip came in from a neighbor who lived on a hill overlooking Daniel and Malia's home. He said that on the last night that the kids were reported to be home, he'd seen a truck going back and forth between the main road and the general area where Lilly and Jack lived. This truck was big and made lots of noise, so it couldn't have been the family car, since they didn't have a working vehicle that would have been able to make that amount of noise. And the parents' phones also confirmed that they were home all evening. This prompted police to bring in every single person connected to the kids to sit down for polygraphs and to scale back the search. After 3 days, the likelihood of 2 toddlers still being alive was virtually zero. When it came out that social services had been called to the home after the kids' school filed a report about them showing up without appropriate winter wear for the cold and generally being unclean, the internet got involved. Naturally, everyone and their neighbor ignored the lack of any evidence that the parents had done something to their kids and decided that Malia and Daniel Martell killed Jack and Lilly to make room for their new baby, a whole year and a half after she was born. Rumors of drug use and family feuds were everywhere. Now, I'm not naive. I know what the statistics for missing kids are. More often than not, it's the family that are guilty, and this certainly was not a perfect family by any means. But there has been no physical evidence to suggest either Malia or Daniel had ever harmed Jack or Lilly. They were struggling financially, but there were no reports of physical abuse. That needs to be made clear. That didn't stop the world from generating AI images of the couple murdering their own children, using deepfake technology to make it sound like they were confessing to abhorrent crimes. Just horrible stuff. Excuse me if I'm not going to share any of those hideous videos with you, but I do have a message to every single bastard that made those videos and images. You have actively halted a search for 2 kids. You have kept police from putting their resources into finding Jack and Lilly because they're running themselves dry, following every image, every video, and chasing harassers away that show up at the couple's home threatening to burn their house down. Now, let's say that the parents did do something. Fine. Then let police find the evidence and bring them to justice. All of these false leads aren't just keeping them too busy to find these babies, it's keeping them from finding damning evidence too. Every one of you are horrible human beings, and there's a special place in hell for all of you. And I include my beloved true crime community here on YouTube into that batch of exploitive sensationalists too. Every media outlet, be that social or official, are all guilty of banking off complete lies. Let me air out my collar before my brain explodes with rage. Let's get back to the case. Sadly, the condition of the kids' clothes could be explained by the family's increasing financial difficulties. If it weren't for their respective families' input, they wouldn't have been able to afford heat or food. Chances are that the kids literally didn't have clothes to wear because the parents couldn't afford them. Since the intense media presence around them kicked off, Malia's taken her baby daughter and moved in with family to get away from it all. She's disappeared off social media and hasn't seen her partner, Daniel, in more than 6 months, both to protect her baby from the scrutiny and because the families of Daniel, Cody, and her own have dissolved into absolute chaos under the pressure. Honestly, guilty or innocent, I can't blame her for getting her only surviving child out of the mess that this has all become. Daniel's past drug use, Malia's plans to leave him, and the state of the camper they were living in, well, none of this looked like a healthy home to the public or the police. But even with all of the fighting and separations going on, nothing to suggest violence has ever been found, and every person involved has willingly sat down for questioning, polygraphs, and full property searches. Every single one of them has checked out, with one exception: Daniel's mother, Janie, who also lives on the property. Before you get your panties in a bunch, Janie's never been a suspect, and her house was searched multiple times. She just couldn't sit for a proper polygraph because of her advanced age and the tremors that naturally occur after a certain age. 5,000 pieces of footage from dash cams, trail cameras, doorbell cams, logged 600 tips, polygraphed 56 people, and they've looked into a dozen more. Daniel's been very involved in the searches. Malia's been keeping out of the public eye, and all 3 sides of the family suspects one or the other. And Daniel is still conducting weekly searches, even a year later. He's never stopped looking and talking to any reporter who is willing to listen. No man can criticize him for not doing enough, that's for sure. This is all a massive mess, and in the middle of all of it are 2 missing kids. And I hate to say it, but I think foul play is the most likely scenario. For a 4- and 6-year-old to cover the terrain out there is nearly impossible. The searchers and even their canines had trouble getting through the thick mass of growth. Besides, the kids had never veered off before. Jack hated walking, and Lilly hated the wet and cold even more. For there to be no sign of them at all, even after a year's worth of searches, I just don't see those tiny little legs making it so far that no one could locate them. But Janie did hear them that morning, and she's never been a suspect. So we can assume that the kids were truly there. Why would a stranger drive out to the middle of nowhere to abduct 2 kids when there were much easier places to do such a thing? Unless it is personal after all. What about the mystery truck the night before? Who on earth was out there at that time of night? Look, we can go around asking questions until we're all blue in the face, and it's not going to lead us anywhere. Until their bodies, items of their clothing, or something shakes loose, there's no telling what happened to them. What do you think? The sick reality that parents kill their own kids? Did they simply wander off on a child's imagination-fueled adventure and get lost out in the vast wilderness? Or was someone watching and waiting to take them when the opportunity arose? All I know is that Lilly and Jack are gone, and we're nowhere closer to finding them than the day they went missing 9 months ago. No one's talking, but one thing's for sure, police aren't tackling this like a case of lost in the woods. They've been looking into this like an abduction case from the start. So what do they know that we don't? You know the drill. Drop your thoughts in the comments section, leave a like and subscribe. We'll see you in the next one, people.